Monday, June 20th, 7 p.m. If you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Burchill.
Here.
District 1 Morissette.
Here.
District 2 Yakub. Here. District 3 Bernard. Here. District 4 Wyland.
Here.
District 5 Haggett is excused. District 6 Vanslow.
Here. Comments and suggestions from citizens present on any item that's not on the agenda tonight? Is there anyone present who would like to come and address the council? Please come forward and address, say your name and address, please.
Gloria Kramer, 1015 2nd Street, Hudson. And good evening, Mr. Mayor and all the council people. This is by way of a delayed thank you to all of you and to whoever was involved. I am a volunteer over at the library, our lovely new building, I might add, and also over at Octagon House. And last fall, you very kindly gave us enough money. We haven't used it yet because Department of Public Works, I believe, is the one that will do the actual installation. But you've authorized a pathway from the handicapped parking area in the parking lot at the library, across the traffic lane in the parking lot, to the sidewalk, and then up, breaking the cement so that they can just wheel up with their wheelchairs or their walkers. And this comes in through the north door, which you also speeded up the installation of the push button for handicapped. If you've not been to the library yet, please have your Wheaties in the morning because those doors are heavy. They weigh a ton. You could blast something through there and it wouldn't move. That's my first thank you. My second one, of course, is for the handicap button. That was wonderful. We absolutely are thrilled with that. My third one just happened this week. DPW out on First Street painted the stripes for the crosswalk from the park to the corner that the library is on, because we have so many people that have to park down in that area near the beach with strollers and children and buggies and loose kids running around. And it was very difficult for moms or whoever is bringing them to get across First Street. They had to go across to Phipps and then across Vine. And my last thank you is for the gentleman that is working on the landscaping in front of the building, which is on Vine. That's our entrance. And all of those bricks, whatever you call them, or stones, those slabs, they were kind of falling down, and they were a little bit dangerous, and we were afraid someone would get hurt if they fell down onto the sidewalk and someone would stumble on them. So we really appreciate your doing that. The only other part of the building that they're not working on that we know about is the side on First Street, which is kind of underneath the police department. And I guess maybe they'll get some convicts to go out there and do something. Who knows? But anyway, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm a new resident. I've only been here 2.5 years, and I just absolutely love living downtown, walking around, and having access to all this wonderful stuff. The only thing that we really need is a supermarket again. That would be very helpful. Thank you, thank you. Please, if you have not been over to the library, please come over and just walk around, take a look. I'm usually there late afternoon, evenings. If you see me, talk to me, say, you know, where is this? Show me around. I will be more than happy to do that. We absolutely love that new building. And you have now gotten started on a cultural corridor for Hudson over there with the library and the Phipps and those lovely restaurants and shopping. Thanks very much for your time. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Mrs. Kramer. Mr. O'Connor, do you have something some people you'd like to introduce?
Yeah. Mr. Mayor and members, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come here tonight. Of course, you all know that we are now hosting the Pee Wee International Friendship Tournament here in Hudson. It started officially on Tuesday, I believe, and will go until Friday. And we have a number of people in town. And what we did tonight is we brought a representation of the people that we have here from a variety of countries. First of all, however, I would like to introduce Mr. Tadakio Canary, who is the founder of the tournament. Mr. Canary, would you like to come up? Oh, Mr. Kato, would you like to say anything, Mr. Canary? Maybe not.
Sure you would.
Come on up. And his interpreter here is Mr. Kato, who will be helping him out.
この度はこのハドソンの町にたくさんの子どもたち、関係者お招きいただきましてありがとうございます。またこの大会は子どもたちに、チャンスと夢を与える大会であります。これからも続くと思いますので、よろしくお願いしたいと思います。今日はありがとうございました。Thank you very much.
Thank you. Help.
Yeah. Sorry, I feel so nervous that my English is not so good. But Mr. Canary said, first of all, very much appreciate for your support to hold such kind of tournament. Now this time 119 kids gather from 7 countries in this area. We received so many good hospitality, kindness, and Okona-san and other host family and take care of our kids. And Mr. Canary believed, cooperate with Mr. Okona and other people to maintain over 20 or 30 years this tournament in order to grown up support given kids about encourage and dream or such kind of chance. Oh, thank you. Chance. Finally, he will know English. Yeah, very much appreciate for your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You want to do that? I have a proclamation I'd like to read, but
Sure,
you want to
yes.
introduce your other people first?
Yeah, and if you don't mind, just one thing. I think it's important to note that with this tournament, there are a number of hurdles, obstacles, obviously, that many of our guests have had to pass in order to get here. We originally had an earthquake in Christchurch, New Zealand, that knocked a few of the kids out of the program because of the destruction that happened to their families. Fortunately, no one in their organization was injured, but I'm sure you know the devastation that was incurred in New Zealand at that time. They had to struggle through a lot of hardship in order to be able to even plan to be here. Shortly after that, in fact, about a month after that, Hachinohe, or Tokyo, was hit with an earthquake. The aftershocks and the tsunami hit Hachinohe in the northern part of the island and wiped out a big chunk of their city. Mr. Canary at that time did not believe that he would be able to bring his team here, but because of the outpouring of support from Hudson as well as from the other organizations that are participating in this tournament, he felt compelled to bring his team here. And they worked through a lot of hardship in order to get here, but they wanted to do this because of the work that has been done in the past, for the past 20-some years on this tournament, and it was very important for him to be here. As our friends from New Zealand were departing New Zealand to come here, they got hit with an aftershock, a 6.0 aftershock. There were 3 teams coming. One of them actually got out on time, and the other 2 struggled to get here, and the last one got here just the other night. And then Cranbrook, our friends from Cranbrook, were taking the train out from there, and 2 days before they were to depart, found out that their train was canceled due to flooding in Montana, and they closed the train bridges down. they went out and hired a bus to get here and spent 29 hours on a bus to be here. So a lot of hardship has been dealt with by many of the teams that are represented here, and I thought it was important that we noted that, because that's how important this tournament is to everybody. So having said that, I'd like to introduce a representation of the teams that we have here. First of all, David Toms is over here. He's with South Australia, and his son Daniel is staying with us, and Remy in the back, if you guys would stand up.
Stand up, please. Yeah.
Lyle Sharman is with Aldergrove, Canada, British Columbia, and his son is here, and his teammate Jacob is here. And then we have a couple others from Aldergrove. I apologize, I'm not. Brian and Brody, stand up. And we have a couple boys from Denmark here as well. And Erling, if you would, Erling Hansen is from Denmark. He's living here in Stone Pine in Hudson. Would you introduce the two boys there?
This is Heike, and this is Rasmus from Denmark.
Excellent, excellent. And of course, Mr. Canary and Kato. Have I missed someone? Oh, my son Richie. Stand up, who is wearing a jersey from Sakhalin, Russia, who participated in the tournament in 2003 in St. Paul. And we hosted some boys from Russia when that tournament was here, and he played in the tournament in 2003 and then traveled to Cranbrook in 2005 to participate in this tournament. Great heritage, great tournament. I can't tell you enough how happy we are to have them here, and for all the cooperation on the part of certainly this council as well as our entire community that has just shown an outpouring of support for what we're doing here. So hopefully you've seen many of these faces in different tongues speaking throughout our community. That's it. Thank you.
We have thank you very much. You guys can have a chair. I have a proclamation to read for the games today. Whereas Mr. Canary of Japan started the Pee Wee International Friendship Games in 1989 to foster spirit of friendship in youth ice hockey, and having young skaters from around the world gather every other year in competition and sportsmanship. And whereas skaters from Hudson participated in the Friendship Games in 2003 in St. Paul, Minnesota, 2005 in British Columbia, Canada, 2007 in New Zealand, and 2009 in Japan, giving Hudson youth the opportunity to travel around the world to play hockey and establish lifelong friendships. And whereas in 2009, the Hudson Friendship Games Organizing Committee has volunteered thousands of hours in preparation to welcome 260 skaters, over 400 coaches, parents, and supporters to Hudson to participate in the 2011 games, and where the citizens of Hudson have opened their homes and hearts to nearly 200 young men and women from Australia, Canada, Denmark, New Zealand, Korea, and Japan for 150 hockey games and other events taking place during the 10 days of the tournament. And now, therefore, I, Alan D. Burchell, Mayor of the City of Hudson, Wisconsin, hereby congratulate Mr. Help me, Rich. Canary.
Mr. Canary.
Close, Mr. Canary, for his vision for a more peaceful world. Salute the tireless efforts of the Friendship Games Organizing Committee and thank the host families who are housing players. Congratulate the skaters, the coaches participating in the tournament, and declare the week of June 19th through the 25th, 2011, as Hudson Pee Wee International Friendship Games Week, and call upon all citizens to welcome our international guests to the community and offer best wishes to all those involved in a one-in-a-lifetime event. Mr. Canary, can you come up here? Come on this side. Congratulations, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is for you for a proclamation. Do you want to, we can get a picture here? All right.
It's very important.
Okay.
One more.
One more?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
And this is for you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Mayor and members, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Is there anyone else here to speak to the council? All right. Our first item on the agenda is consider the use of a conditional use permit for the, consent agenda, I'm sorry, go ahead.
To approve the regular meeting minutes of June 6, 2011, to schedule a public hearing for August 15, 2011 at 6:50 p.m. to consider amending Chapter 255-18 St. Croix River Scenic Riverway Regulations, to approve claims for payment in the amount of $480,873.66. A detailed description is available in the clerk's office on request and is posted on the city's website. To approve the issuance of 4 regular operators licenses for the period June 21st, 2011 to June 30th, 2013, and the issuance of 62 regular operators licenses for the period July 1st, 2011 to June 30th, 2013, and the issuance of 1 temporary operator's license to be used July 1st through 3rd, 2011 during the Hudson Booster Days in Lakefront Park, and the issuance of 1 temporary operator's license to be used June 21st, 2011 during the Pee Wee International Hockey Tournament Picnic in Lakefront Park, and the issuance of 1 temporary operator's license to be used July 21st, 2011 during the Seriously Fun Art Auction at 109 Locust Street, and the issuance of 2 temporary operators licenses to be used July 15th, 2011 during the Davis Drewiski 3-on-3 youth hockey event at 1820 Hanley Road. License issuance is contingent on payment of any outstanding debt owed to the city, and additional information regarding operators' licenses is available in the clerk's office on request. To approve the renewal and issuance of a taxicab service license to FDS Enterprises Incorporated, doing business as A Taxi, Hudson Taxi, and 8 taxi driver licenses from July 1st, 2011 to June 30th, 2012. Additional application information is available in the clerk's office on request. To approve the issuance of a temporary Class B license to the Hudson Hockey Association to sell beer from 3 p.m. until midnight on July 15th, 2011 at the Davis Drewiski 3-on-3 youth hockey event at 1820 Hanley Road. To approve the issuance of a taxicab service license to Kilimanjaro Taxicab Services, doing business as Kilimanjaro Taxicabs, and 2 taxicab driver licenses from July 1st, 2011 to June 30th, 2012. Additional application information is available in the clerk's office on request. To approve the appointment of Chadwick R. Moe, 317 Day Farm Road, Hudson, Wisconsin, as the liquor license agent for Hudson Liquor at 131 Carmichael Road. To approve the issuance of 1 taxicab driver license to Michael C. Teets, Ninja Cab Company, from July 1st, 2011 to June 30th, 2012. To approve the transfer of the Class B beer and Class C wine license of Chad E. Hoyt, doing business as Doughboys Pizza, 1615 Maxwell Drive, to the new location at 529 2nd Street, effective July 1st, 2011. To approve the request of the St. Croix River Association to camp on Picnic Point on July 19th, 2011 for their 100th anniversary event. To approve the request to remove the stop signs on Grandview Drive at Spruce Drive and to erect a cross-traffic does not stop sign on Spruce Drive. To deny the request to remove the stop sign on 12th Street at Fillmore Street. To deny the request to reduce the speed limit on Crestview Drive. To approve the request of The Source for a 5K run on Thanksgiving Day, November 24th, 2011. To place on file the quarterly report of the wastewater director and the May 18th, 2011 minutes of the Joint Fire Board. And that is all.
Move for approval.
Second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Roll call.
Oh, roll call vote, excuse me.
Wyland?
Aye.
Bernard? Yes. Morset?
Yes.
Yaku? Yes. Vansel?
First order of business then is a conditional use permit for the Parks Department to construct a series of stairways on city property in Lakefront Park on the south side of Dyke Road. Mr. Darrell.
Evening. The Plan Commission held a public hearing last Thursday night for this particular issue. Park Board, Parks Department is proposing to construct 5 separate stairwells or staircases on the south side of the Dyke Road. It's intended to construct 2 of those this year. At the public hearing last Thursday, there was no public comment received during the public hearing. Plan Commission recommendation is to approve the conditional use permit as proposed by the City of Hudson Parks Department for stairways along the Dyke Road with the condition the city will meet the applicable standards in our 118 standards for Lower St. Croix National Scenic Riverway as denoted in the June 14, 2011 memorandum from Mr. Michael Wenholtz, Regional Shoreline Specialist. And any appropriate waterway permits are to be obtained prior to starting project work. So Plan Commission recommends approval of the conditional use permit. Mr. Tom Zuley, our Public Works Director, Parks Director, and I will call DNR to have a face-to-face meeting, make sure all applicable standards are met prior to construction.
Any questions?
I move to approve.
Is there a second? Okay. Any other discussion? Or any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Next is consider renewal of annual alcoholic beverage licenses for the period of 7/1/2011 to 6/30/2012. Nancy, do you want to read those, what we have?
Sure. We have Barley's Pizza and Pasta LLC, 1830 Webster Street. Jason Jones doing business as Kalani's 2.0, 3250 Heiser Street. Sharon Horn Elstrom LLC doing business as Ellie's on Main, 417 Second Street. And Anton's Creole Maison LLC doing business as Anton's Creole Maison. We need to have the approval contingent on payment of any outstanding debt, successful building and fire inspections, and receipt of the required restaurant certificate.
Do we want to add for the rest of the council what we did at finance for Ellie's on Main? We're following the
Do you want to take them separately like you did in the,
yeah. Is that okay? with
the ones that
everyone?
are clear, you can
The
do
first
clear.
3, and then we'll do Sharon Horn Elstrom last. That's okay? Is there a motion
To
to
approve the first 3 with the stated contingencies.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead.
I'll move to approve this one. Let me get a crack at it again.
Okay.
The Sharon Elstrom with contingent upon 12, what'd you say, 12:01
Yes.
a.m. to
No, PM.
Yeah.
11, is that correct?
Noon.
Till noon?
No, noon to 11.
Noon to 12 p.m.
These are the same
Noon to
restrictions
11.
that
Yes.
were on there previously?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can
But
we
look-
state it that way?
That would be 11.
Well,
You want to state it that way? What we had in our
In the
minutes?
minutes from September 7th,
okay,
20.
well, there was topic of discussion at finance for that didn't go that way. But
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
Well,
then continue.
Are you okay with that, Lori? Or?
Yeah, no, I think we should clarify it.
Okay.
All right, so tell me the times again.
12:01 p.m.
12:01 p.m.
till 11 p.m.
11 p.m. with ambient background music, meaning low background music, and we'll talk about that at another meeting. And then,
Not
No, we didn't put
necessarily.
that-
No.
We didn't put that in.
okay, and then no window and no doors would be permitted to be open, and a licensed operator must be present on the back patio.
Between Wednesday
Wednesday through, what is that?
Saturday.
from,
From
8 p.m. till
close.
close.
okay,
and I think it's very important.
is there a
to-
second?
Second.
All right,
And very important to say these are the same restrictions that have been in place, so there's nothing
Correct.
new here.
right,
Okay.
And the
thank you.
concrete wall is
is done.
complete.
It's complete, good. That's good to know.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Information on credit card debts. We had a presentation at Finance, and they're going to come back to us with information based on our volumes and what it would cost. So hopefully we'll have that by next meeting, July 5th. Finance officer, we'd like to get approval from the full finance. We made an offer contingent upon your approval, Lee and Mary, because our finance committee approved offering the position to Neil Soltis, who is currently the city administrator, clerk treasurer in the city of Osceola, with a effective date of August 1st, 2011.
Can you just kind of go over the process? I know the last time we talked about this, we had 2 people that were under consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about how the interview process went?
Sure. We had, I think we interviewed 3. There was 12 applicants. We interviewed 3. Then we brought 2 finalists back for interview process and made the selection of those 2. So we had predetermined questions for both sets of interviews. And I think the interview process worked real well. I was happy with how that worked. Anyone else have anything else they want to add?
The second list of questions were much more in depth than the first ones. We were much more specific about what we were looking for.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
It was a unanimous decision.
Yeah,
from
it was
the
unanimous
Finance
by our
Committee.
Finance Department Committee. So is there a motion that full council accept?
I'll move that we accept.
I'll second that.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is consider improving turn lane signage on Gateway Boulevard at Crestview Drive. Who's taking this one? Mary?
I'll take it, yeah. At Public Safety, there was a concern that came up that the traffic in that intersection can become confusing. Which way to turn, which way you're not supposed to turn. So it was requested that we consider looking at better signage and maybe repainting. So what was discussed at Safety and what passed was to repaint the street and place signs in the boulevards, small signs in the boulevards. And what we'd like to do is redirect the traffic, so the right lane will be a right turn only lane, and the left lanes will be left or straight on both sides, on both the north and south side of the street. At this point, its left lane is left turn, yes, thank you, left and straight.
And the issue is it's on each side of the street it's different. So people oncoming are assuming one thing and people coming the other way are assuming something else.
So this would hopefully alleviate some confusion as to how to, navigate in that intersection, and with repainting, it'll be more visible. We also have we've also requested, or I should say Mr. Zulli has requested that to speak with the manager or the head of Quick Trip to see if he can possibly consider changing his entrance and his exit so that the closer entrance and exit right now that exists to the intersection would be in entrance only, and you would exit from the more northern spot of the parking lot, back behind where the car wash is and stuff.
Danny, does McDonald's have an easement through there? Do you know? Do you remember?
Yes.
I'm not sure that we can.
So
We're gonna
that
just-
could cause a problem,
Right.
but it was
Well,
just something to suggest a better flow. It's not something that, if it can happen, great. If not,
Okay.
life is the way it is. But
And we had asked to have Tom to go back and speak with Denny and talk to the Quick Trip people to see, is there a better way of flowing traffic? Because you got people coming out right at the corner.
Yep.
And if we can get them to go a little bit farther around, we'll free up a lot of congestion there.
Okay.
I have a concern that it doesn't solve the real problem, and one of those real problems is that the people making a left-hand turn coming out of the Quick Trip area are turning left in front of people turning right.
They do not
And
yield.
there's no right-of-way there, and there's a tremendous potential for an accident because they also don't know which cars are gonna go straight, and so they'll turn and somebody's going straight. So I don't think just changing the lanes solves the problem. I would prefer to look at a left-hand turn arrow for those people coming out of there. Leave the left-hand lane left turn, but make a left-hand turn arrow. Give them a few minutes to make their left-hand turn, put it on red and stop them from turning, and let everybody else go at that point in time. That's what I would prefer to do to solve the problem. I don't know what the cost is. I don't know.
Danny, do you know if that light would be able to handle that? Do we have a?
No, I can't answer that question.
Okay.
That is a big problem.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know why, at
It
that
is.
particular intersection, people turning left do not yield to oncoming traffic.
Because it's so hard to get out of there, I think, is the biggest, they're trying to get out.
It's a real problem for those people too, not knowing
Yep.
which one's gonna go straight, which one's gonna take a
Well,
left-hand turn.
there's
when they're
another
going the other way.
potential solution, though. In lieu of adding a left-hand turn arrow, perhaps the lights could be timed differently, such that we clear the northbound traffic out of Gateway first. They get a green light first, and so when the southbound traffic is turning left, I mean, it could be a delayed
Yeah.
green for southbound, then you wouldn't have to add a left-hand turn. But it is a,
I don't think, does the Department of Transportation have anything to do with the lights that far back on?
No, I don't think so.
no.
Danny, do they? No.
Okay. And the other issue with that intersection is traffic going east backs up into that intersection often, even still, even with the 3-lane turn, because residents or visitors or whomever don't realize that to split into those 3 lanes. So there's a lot of,
So what I'm hearing is we want more study, or we want to do,
One of the things we asked at safety was for Tom to have a chance to look at the intersection and talk to Denny about some different solutions. So we brought up a number of them here too.
sure.
I would move that we table this and give him the chance to review those other options.
Yeah,
I'll second that.
Okay. Everybody okay with that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Opposed?
I'm glad you guys are looking at it.
Yeah, it's a problem. Number 6, consider request for crossing flags at 4 intersections on Stage Line Road. 4 intersections at not 4 intersections.
Wasn't it on consent? It was on consent. I asked to have it removed from consent. I'm in support of the flags. With all of our divisions, when we put in new facilities, we ask the residents to pay for those new facilities, and then we pay for maintaining the facilities. So when we put up streetlights, I think we did this, a year ago, 2 years ago? The neighbors paid for the lights, and then we pay for maintaining them. So I would like this to be approved, but ask the neighborhood to pay for the initial purchase of those flags and getting it set up.
Do we have a cost on that?
Yes, it's $230 for each intersection total. However, Mr. Zulli came up with an idea that there is an intersection with flags in the city that is not being utilized, or really the flags he feels can be removed because it was down on 2nd Street and it was being utilized when the library used to be down that way. So we could transfer those to up to one of the intersections, and we would only be spending a total of $230 to try and make a safer crossing for the residents. My problem with charging the residents is that it's 3 subdivisions, so we're gonna go back to 3 subdivisions and say, divide it between you all and try and figure out who's gonna pay what and who's gonna use it more. And then we're also, looking at this and saying, we have a park, White Camp Park, which just put a $300,000 pavilion in, and no sidewalk for residents to get to on Stage Line, which is something that's obviously trouble to, not easy to do between the city and town to work that out. So the residents need to cross from the lighthouse into another subdivision to get to the city park safely on public sidewalks. I think that we have presented an opportunity for the residents to use city amenities, and I think we should find a way to help them. They pay taxes for safety as part of their reasons why they pay taxes, and I think that's a #1 reason.
Now, I would take caution in removing those flags on Myrtle and 2nd, for there's 2 daycares that use that every morning during the school year.
Which is fine, I don't have a problem keeping them, but I do think that whether we keep those or remove those or what have you, whether it's $230 or $460, that it should come out of the Public Works budget for.
I was just trying to be consistent with what we've done before and
What lights
crossing.
were you talking about, Lee, that we charged the residents?
The up in Stone Pine, there was 3 or 4 new lights we put in to light a street.
But that's an association.
Yes.
Stage Line is it's not inside anyone's association. It's a main thoroughfare through the city of Hudson. that's not inside someone's subdivision. So you're asking for 3 subdivisions to decide between them who's going to pay for what.
Well, so there's 4 intersections.
There's 2.
There's 2.
Yeah.
Where's the 6?
I thought there was 2, and this said 4, so that was,
Well, it's incorrect. There's 2. It's the intersection between the Lighthouse and Red Cedar Canyon and the Lighthouse and Heritage Greens. And the lanes, when you count the turn lanes, is 5 or 6 lanes that families are crossing to get to a park.
and I'd support the idea. I just, as far as consistency, we've asked for the flags to be paid for before, and I thought we should at least have that discussion here before we signed off on it on consent.
Correct. And the flags that we asked to be paid for before were through a private company who requested the flags, not from the public. It was a private company that requested the flags. And as I said in safety committee, I have a strong belief that safety shouldn't be set by a precedence, that you have to take each individual situation as an individual situation and look at each individual situation, because every situation is different, in my opinion, with safety. So that's why I feel it should be covered.
You know, we have flags at Vine by the YMCA, and I go down that road a whole lot. I've never once seen anyone use a flag to cross that street, never once. They walk across the street, but they never use the flags.
But that's
There's
their
2
choice.
things. There's 2 things that have happened at that intersection. We had attempted stop signs at the intersection. We put the flags in, and when we first put them in, they were used a lot. And I think what's happened is people have gotten used to that crossing. The cars have gotten used to that crossing, so the flags are there for safety and aren't used as often as they used to be. I agree, but I think what's happened is the behavior across that intersection has changed, at least somewhat, so that people feel a little safer crossing there. But to begin with, they were used a lot. And like, I agree, they're not used as much, but I have seen them used.
It's I just find it to be an inexpensive way to try and solve a problem that residents have proposed. To put the little crosswalks thing in the middle of the road that we have all over 2nd Street and all over 1st Street, each one of those is $500 a piece. So I tried to find a less expensive alternative to try and, satisfy residents who would like to cross stage line and utilize a park that's supposed to be the anchor park for the south side of Hudson.
So
Randy, you have anything? Lori?
Well, I was going to say, so you don't think it'd be reasonable to ask Lighthouse, Red Cedar Canyon, and Heritage Greens to split the cost
No.
of 2?
I don't, because I think that we pay taxes for basic public safety, and I think this would fall under basic public safety, in my opinion. That's arguable, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, we have the same thing with sidewalks. We asked the residents to chip in and help pay for their sidewalks, which is public safety as
What
well.
did we
Right,
do
but this
it?
is $500. It's $460 total that we're talking about. We're not talking about thousands of dollars.
No, but, well, what did we do at, by the way? What did we do at Vine? Did we charge Vine Hills? Or?
I don't believe
At
so.
that time,
'Cause we
it
had
was the first
the
thing that
city
went
of
in.
Vine.
It was
We didn't
an
charge you.
experiment, so it wasn't, and
At
most of
least
the
I-
stuff was
I
made
don't-
in-house.
Yep.
And that's how this will be. Everything is made in-house. And the only one I believe we charged for is the one that was requested by the private company.
Right, because we looked at the
No
fact
other
that this
area
could
has been
be,
charged.
we looked at the fact that we were setting a precedence to say, you know what, we're probably getting a lot of requests for flags, so we need to look at how do we expense them in the
When did we
future.
put those flags in?
Which one?
In Norlake?
Was
Year and a
last
half
year,
ago?
Year, 2
Yeah.
years ago? Yeah.
How many requests have we received?
Well,
This one.
At the time, we were trying to look towards the future and ask ourselves, where else in the city, like these areas, will requests come in? Could we expected to have more requests?
Well, I think that, I know I'm maybe beating a dead horse, but I think for $460, I think we can find it in our hearts to figure it out. It's not like, streetlights and stuff cost thousands of dollars. This is $460.
So do we have a motion on either side of it?
I will move to approve the crossing flags for Stage Line Road.
Is there a second?
I'll second for the
Okay.
sake of discussion.
I want to find out where the funding's coming from. I don't think you can get your flags from the sound of it if you go on your own.
Public Works, I asked Mr. Zulli, he said that they can fund it out of Public Works budget. The flags cost $5 a piece. And then the mechanism that they're gonna put on the poles is done in-house for a total cost of $230 for each crosswalk.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I guess my concern is maybe a little bit less for the cost than, criteria that we're using to decide where we're going to put these up. And I don't disagree that those are, they're busy roads, the speeds are relatively high, and they're wide roads to cross. And I'm just kind of asking public safety, you know, where would we say yes? Where would we say no? Is, you know.
One of the things that you look at that is, I think Mary brought a very good point up about the fact we just put a park there. We have a brand-new pavilion, and we've got people walking. We have no way to get there other than to cross a pretty busy street. And, you know, that may be a criteria, I think, that we can utilize to look at, you know, what destination.
I did ask, since this is associated with the park, if we couldn't pay it out of impact fees.
Yeah.
That would be perfect, because all those
Yep.
neighborhoods contribute to the impact
Right.
fees. Tom felt that was a little bit of a stretch, I think.
Yes. But again, it's just $430. I'm just.
So it comes out of Public Works, so that's Lori and Rich. And
Randy, too.
And Randy. Yeah, I know. I was going around the table, okay? Okay, any other discussion?
I will only say from a personal standpoint, my only concern with flags is that it tends to give people who use them a false sense of security and may lead to more accidents than less accidents. So from a personal standpoint, I don't like the flag system, and that's just my personal opinion. And that's just how I feel about it. I think they get the flag in their hand and think they're okay, and maybe are a little bit more nonchalant about crossing and should. And that's just a personal opinion.
I was resistant at first when we first started putting these flags up, and the city of Bayport have used them nonstop, and they seem to really like them, and it solved a big problem for them down there. Down here, it solved a lot of problems, especially with the daycares that are on Myrtle and Second. Norlake was an issue, not outside of the whole funding issue.
Yep.
And that solved a big problem there with their employees coming back and forth across the street. They do work, but as you're right, as soon as things go further and further down and years pass, the flags fall away. Is that something that they've requested, Mary, that the flags be used up there?
Yes, that's why it came to safety, because I received multiple requests.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Passes 3-2. Okay, thank you. Number 9, consider request to restrict pedestrian traffic on 3rd Street Hill. This come out of safety also?
Yes, I don't have an issue sheet on it for some reason. Did anyone, I mean, I can speak on it.
Sure.
Actually, if I can pass the baton to you, Lori,
Oh,
since it was your
Sure.
request.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, it's something I had mentioned to Chief Jensen maybe a year and a half ago, and then I think I got off public safety and failed to bring it forward again. But yeah, I've had an ongoing concern, and it seems like pedestrian traffic is actually increasing on the 3rd Street Hill as it winds up and turns into Laurel. Residents may or may not be aware that we've added a new staircase that goes up into a trail at Prospect Park, so that's a great and safe way to get up onto the hill. But my concern is, with the road being as narrow as it is, that actually pedestrian traffic could add to the likelihood of a vehicle collision and or the possibility of a pedestrian being struck. So what I believe the motion was that came out of public safety was that we put a sign on either end, and we could talk a little bit more about exactly where those signs would be, but just stating that the road is unsafe for pedestrian traffic, please use an alternate route. I do think occasionally people get on the road and realize there is nowhere to go, there's no shoulder, there's a brick wall on one side. It's not an appropriate place for people to be walking. So instead of restricting traffic and saying, you know, gosh, we're going to ticket people if they walk on it, no, that's not what we're looking at. We're just saying, let people know it is unsafe. And, you know, we would strongly encourage residents and pedestrians to use an alternate route.
I have gotten some feedback from my constituents who said, in that neighborhood, the way to get downtown is down the road. I mean, you can, if you're, the new trails through Prospect Park work okay, but they don't work with a stroller, they don't work with some of the other things. So they would like us to continue to look for a better way to get from that neighborhood down.
Nobody's taking that stroller down that street, are they?
Well, that's what I've been
Wow.
told, is that that's how they get downtown. There's a short section they have to worry about, but then they get off and keep going down. So it is their route to get downtown.
They're still going to be free to, take that risk. It's,
But I think the idea of looking forward, and since that is a primary route, I mean, obviously primary route for cars too, because
Yep.
that's the way they go, to see if we can take this back to park, or continue a discussion with Park Board to see if there's a way for us to, I think there's some things there that could be changed to give it a little more space. So maybe something we should continue looking at in the future as far as trails. How do we get better trails up on the hill down?
Okay.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the no pedestrians on this portion of Third Street.
Okay.
Well,
No, it
the
doesn't.
sign.
The
sign.
Yes.
It's the motion,
Yes,
if
yes.
you want to look at your minutes,
Yeah, I was
that's
trying
probably.
to sneak off Randy's issue. I don't even get an issue sheet for some reason, so.
But it says,
I know,
but
but
just-
yours,
and
I,
safe for
Yeah,
pedestrian traffic.
right,
Please
use
use
the
alternate route.
thank
Is there
you.
a second?
I'll second.
That's what I meant to say.
Okay. Any other, Rich, do you have any comments?
Just for clarification, we're just putting a sign up that says
Yes.
pedestrian? So we're just posting a sign somewhere.
Well, it's kind
One or
of,
At
two?
both ends,
At both
right?
At both ends.
Okay.
I want there to be some acknowledgement that we recognize it is not safe for pedestrians and you walk at your own risk. And, honestly, I see it as a situation where a pedestrian on that road could cause a two-vehicle accident. And I think we need to acknowledge that it's really not an appropriate place to be walking.
One comment, if you drive the 20 miles an hour, it's fair, I feel pretty confident that you could probably stop if you
Oh, yeah.
drive 20 miles an hour.
without a doubt.
I mean, I've driven it at 20. How often do we drive it at 20?
the key word is if,
Yep.
exactly.
And it depends on where pedestrians are,
Right,
too.
and it depends
where
on
you
the
meet them and.
Weather,
It only raises another question to me then, is are we better off warning the pedestrians, or should we put a sign warning drivers to watch for pedestrians?
That we need to do too. I mean,
Well, there
that's-
is no sidewalk there. I mean,
No.
the sidewalk ends and the street is for
it's narrow.
vehicles.
I
So,
think if we go back to the discussion at safety, if we put any sign up, where we could actually be exposing ourselves to more liability, because we're saying that. But if we say, watch out for pedestrians, then you're saying we're acknowledging pedestrians can walk here, which would then put us in
Right, I
more
think
of a
you're
liable
much better
situation.
on the unsafe for pedestrians, because vehicle is the appropriate use of the street, and they're required to drive, according to the speed limit.
Now,
But
what-
the sidewalk specifically stops.
And the sign up there, I thought was 20 miles an hour all the time. But Tom was saying only for,
no, Marty was saying that the standard speed limit is 25 and it's 20 miles per hour in unsafe conditions.
oh, I thought he said
But I think
winter
people
only.
interpret it to mean 20 miles an hour because of the curbs.
That's how I read
That's
it.
what
That's
I
how I
did.
read it too,
Yeah.
but
But
the law does,
Oh, that's a
here.
recommendation, he says.
Right?
It's not the
the
20.
street is 25 miles per hour technically, correct?
Correct, it is. Any signs up there for 20 that are, are just cautionary only.
Okay. I would say I'd like to see us make it a permanent 20. I mean, if we're gonna,
I believe though Chief said that that's not, that he doesn't think that can happen either. You can't drop the speed limit like that.
yes,
That's what he
I
was
didn't
discussing.
hear
We'd
that.
have to look into it.
Yeah, we'd have to
Yeah.
look into it.
There's-
It's not like we
Right.
can just, that's not.
well, we have a
something
motion for right now to put up the signs.
and I would like to come back to safety, look at speed for automobiles.
Sure. You can do that. Is there any other discussion on putting up the signs? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Update on projects. You're on.
Well, for Second and Vine Street, we have the plans and specs done, and we're gonna have the bid opening on June 28th. In the specs, it specifically says the work has to be done on a Sunday. And we have it sometime between Hudson Booster Days and North Hudson Pepperfest. So the work should be done by August 14th. And that was the polyurethane lifting the concrete panels. We're working on the mill and overlay project with Tom, and we're anticipating a bid opening in the late, end of July, so we can then get it approved at first council meeting in August. Grandview Park stormwater improvements, we met Tom out there on site and just worked with him where we want the storm sewer to go through the wooded area. So now we're working on those plans. We're going to get the topo, get it surveyed. Vine Street, we're working on the feasibility report. For private developments, Comfort Suites, they started working. They're making the utility connections with the sanitary sewer. And then Heritage Market, we're working with the developer on the streetlight locations and schedule. And Walgreens, the plans have been approved, and there's an anticipated construction start date in July. I just summarized all the new stuff, which is underlined on the memo.
Dennis sent us all, I don't know if everyone received a email from Dennis, the fact that if the state of Minnesota shuts down, the Stillwater Lift Bridge will be put in the open position, and we will have our issues in downtown Hudson again.
Correct.
So for everyone to be aware of that, could be a real problem summer if that bridge is left open or raised and not being able to be utilized. So that may have some impact on how we do our projects too, or when we do our projects.
Right, that could affect Second and Vine Street with the lifting.
Okay. Anything else? Any questions? Anybody have any questions for? Thank you. Okay, amendment 145-10, i.e. stockholders report for alcoholic beverage license ordinance 10-11. We had our first reading last time, and so this will be an adoption of this motion if you so desire. Is there a motion to adopt?
Move to adopt ordinance number 10-11.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Basically, what we're doing is we're eliminating the ability to ask for the percentage of outstanding shares owned by each shareholder and by each partner, which is not required by the state. The information is asked on the state application, so it was a bit of a overreach, I think. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business. We have the annual compliance maintenance report for wastewater plant resolution 10-11. Jim, do you have anything that you'd like to add? Want to compliment you on another fine report that we get. Thank you.
The wastewater utility complying with its discharge permit to the St. Croix River, regulated by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, is wanting to submit this compliance maintenance annual report. And the report evaluates the wastewater utility in 9 separate categories: influent loadings, both hydraulic and organic; effluent quality in regards to biochemical oxygen demand; effluent quality for total suspended solids; effluent quality for phosphorus; biosolids management, preventative maintenance and staffing; operator certification, financial management, and its collection system management. In each of these 9 categories, the utility received a grade of A and an overall grade point of 4.0. Our user rates are adequate to meet our current demands, and we are also providing segregated accounts for our future facility needs, for our main plant, also our collection system itself, and our equipment currently used at the wastewater treatment plant for replacement. So I think we're positioned well to meet our wastewater needs currently and in the foreseeable future.
What was the percentage available we have?
For hydraulic capacity, approximately 30% capacity remaining. Organically, that's a little less, about 67% remaining.
A little less?
Or 67% used.
Used, okay.
Yes.
All right, 23%, all right.
Yeah, 23%.
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Wyland?
Yes.
Bernard?
Yes.
Morset?
Yes.
Yakub?
Yes.
Vanslo?
Yes.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to adopt resolution number 10-11, and thank you. Very nice job, well done.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any questions? Jim, anybody have any questions for Jim?
So you said 30%
Yes, for hydraulic capacity, that's
And you
flow, average daily flow.
Then you said 67%.
Then 23% capacity remaining for organic
Okay.
treatment.
So 77% is currently.
70% is used.
There's plenty of room.
That organic figure has bounced up and down in the past few years, so that's using the 2010 data.
Layman's terms.
If we
there's
look
plenty
at
of capacity.
If we look at a trend line, that capacity would be used in 2019.
Okay.
If, assuming everything stays consistent.
There's also new technology that may.
There's new technology that we could employ to increase that. We're doing several things we did several things in the past that has accomplished that, and we're looking at other things that we're bringing forward. We'll probably have before the Public Works Committee at the next meeting.
When you
It'll
say
help with that.
things stay the same at kind of the nominal growth rate we have now, we'll be out of space in 8 years. Out of capacity in 8 years, is that correct?
Yes, that's what I'm saying, 2019.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you, Jim.
Yep.
Renewal of the Fire Department Automatic Aid Agreement with Roberts and Warren. Chief Fry? Pretty much self-explanatory.
Yeah, it is. Recently discovered by an insurance agent that had called that our agreement had expired, our automatic aid agreement had expired with Roberts Warren. The automatic aid agreement entails whenever there's an incident between Highway 12 and Highway 65, basically both agencies respond with minimal, well, depending upon the receiving agency, with the giving agency responds with one engine company. By doing this, the residents in the east part of Hudson Township get a lower reduced insurance rates because they're closer to Roberts Fire Station, and in return, Roberts gets a staffing during the day hours where they're really short. So it's worked out well, and both have benefited from this agreement in the past. I'm looking at renewing it and taking out the expiration date.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we renew the auto aid agreement with Roberts Warren Department.
There's a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Chief Fry, if you want to stay up there for a second, because the next thing is communications from the mayor. Anything? I received from the ISO our report for the public protection classification summary, which is very interesting reading. I'd like everybody to know we're a fire protection 4, and in the state of Wisconsin, there's only, of all the fire departments, we are in the top third of fire departments for fire protection. There's 240 fire departments in Class 4, 76 in Class 3, 23 in Class 2, and 0 in Class 1. And how your homeowners rates get determined is what kind of classification. So we have one of the top classifications.
And I think we do a great job as, getting into that Class 4 with all volunteer staff.
Right.
And no set schedule, so.
Yeah. And they have a bunch of different ratings, and we receive very high ratings. Probably the reason we aren't higher is because we're volunteers.
Right.
But
Exactly.
it's a compliment to you and your staff for the good job that you do. And I know years ago, I think we were higher, and we've gone down from a 6 to a 4.
Right.
And that's a good thing for all of our property owners that have to pay insurance.
Right.
Good job. That's all I had. I got a letter from the Phipps Center thanking us for their donation of $1,000 from Mr. Potter, which is a nice thank you note. Then we have our Relay for Life proclamation coming, our Relay for Life coming this Friday. Whereas the American Cancer Society provides programs of research, education, advocacy, and service to cancer patients, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the raising awareness of cancer can and will be beaten, and whereas the Relay for Life event is a celebration of life commemoration of those whose lives have been touched by cancer, and the luminary lighting of ceremony is a meaningful service honoring survivors, remembering those who have lost the battle against cancer, and reminding participants of the importance of their contribution. I therefore, Alan D. Burchell, Mayor of the City of Hudson, do proclaim June 24th and 25th, 2011 as Relay for Life Days. And if you folks, all the audience, it's a new location this year. It's at the Hudson Middle School. It's quite a good event, and if you can go attend, please attend. Any other council person have anything else they'd like to add?
Yes, we have set the date for our first technology committee meeting. It'll be this Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Okay.
So that will be posted shortly.
All right. Anyone else? City Attorney?
Nothing.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.